Hello gentlemen and beautiful ladies. Alright guys, I was in Galveston yesterday. I picked up a mess of shrimp. And just like Forrest Gump in the movie, you can do anything with shrimp. Anyway, today I'm going to boil the shrimp. Part of it's just going to be plain old boiled shrimp, nothing to it. Then I'm going to add some crab boil. We're going to do a little spicy action on the shrimp on another batch, because that's the way I like them. And we're going to add the heads, and we're going to make a stock. That water that I'm boiling all these shrimp in is going to be the stock for some shrimp and sausage gumbo. So stay tuned, check this out. I'm going to give you all the ingredients right now. You're definitely going to need a trinity. So you're going to need a bell pepper, using half an onion. I'm not making a big giant pot of gumbo, just enough for me to eat over a couple of days. Some celery, that's your trinity. You're going to dice these up. I'm going to put the sausage in there. Sausage is going to be diced up. And I had some leftover okra. Going to chop them up, throw them in late in the cook. And of course you're going to have to make a roux. Now the roux, you're going to need some flour, and I'm using bacon grease. You're going to need some type of grease. Use shortening, use bacon grease, or use oil. Just equal parts. Since I'm not making a big old pot, I'm probably going to be using about a quarter cup of oil or grease, this bacon grease, and a quarter cup of flour. You can use more if you want. And of course, we got the water boiling for the shrimp. Now listen close here. I got these jumbo shrimp right here. You can see these heads, how big they are. Now, you can boil shrimp with the heads on. That's not a problem. It just depends on who you're feeding. If they don't mind pulling the head off after it's cooked, or if you want to make one of these fancy looking, you know, representations when you throw that shrimp out there on that plate, you know, it kind of looks impressive. But I'm going to pull these heads off today. And one last thing, if you take these heads, not so much on the jumbo heads, if you get the smaller shrimp, you deep fry them and you fill them with hot sauce, yeah, they're awesome. Now, I just assume that everybody knows how to eat a shrimp or de-head a shrimp, but you take the shrimp like that and just kind of squeeze right there and pull that head off. Now I'm putting that in a bowl because, like I said, I'm going to be making stock out of them heads. I remove the heads of the shrimp. Here's the skinny on the shrimp. Boil some water. Take your shrimp, drop them in. When they start to float, they're done. Pull them out, throw them on ice. And then they'll be perfect. At least that's the way I do. Alright, here we go. You can just dump them all in. Doesn't really matter. As soon as they start to float, they're done. Now boiling shrimp only takes a few minutes, not very long at all, but as you can see how they're floating? They're really starting to float and not sink back down. They're done. It's time to come out. Got me a bucket of ice. We're going to pull these out of here and put them on the ice. That's what we're looking at. Alright, time for the Cajun shrimp. Right here. Just get you some crawfish and shrimp crab boil. I like this stuff. It's the Louisiana brand. You can get whatever you want though. It's not a big deal. Let's add some of this. It's going to smell good in here now. Now I don't measure. Never have. This isn't baking. This is cooking. Man, that seasoning smells good. Alright, let's do the Cajun shrimp now. Now if you want to, you can add a little of this too. Or zombie dust or whatever. Give that a little shot. Won't hurt nothing. Now it's been a few minutes, and as you can tell, these shrimp are starting to float. They're really boiling with that water. They start floating up there on top like that, they're done. So time to pull these out. Okay, last part right here. This takes some work, y'all. You can't be lazy when you're making gumbo. You got to do it right. Now those heads is where the flavor's at. That's why I deep fry them, fill them with hot sauce, and eat them. It tastes just like the tails. So if you like the tails, eat the heads. But that is going to be my stock for my gumbo. Now on the shrimp heads, give them about 5 minutes. Let them bubble up. You want to get that juice out of that head. All that salt water and stuff. Not that big a deal. These are done. Now I'm going to set this to the side. Now anything you want to put in your gumbo, put it in there. It's not a big deal. I found some green beans back here in my refrigerator. I need to get rid of them. So I'm going to put a handful of them in there too. It does not hurt a thing. You got some mushrooms, you got whatever you want. It's gumbo. You're cleaning out your refrigerator. That's what you're doing. But this is for a trinity right here. Some people like real small pieces diced up. I don't care. In fact, I like seeing pieces of the vegetable in there, if you want to be honest. Now what I like to do with my sausage is I cut it lengthwise like that. I cut it into strips and I dice it also. This way every little bite you get, you're going to get a little piece of sausage or maybe some shrimp, whatever. Now guys, there is different ways of doing the shrimp. I just went ahead and boiled mine, but what you can do is just peel them, and then when you cook your gumbo, just throw them in raw right at the end and they'll cook into the gumbo. You can do it that way, or you can just boil them and then at the end of the gumbo you just drop these in. Today I went ahead and boiled them ahead of time. Now I'm going to peel some of these shrimp. I always just grab the legs right here and just pull it around like that. You just pull them around, just pull that shell off. These have cooled down just like that. These are pretty big, so you got to kind of go down to the fourth little ring and then just give it a squeeze on the tail and that sucker should just pop out of there. See? Shrimp. Now you shrimp, you gotta do the same thing. I'm gonna cut these into a little pile like that. Just little pieces. You don't have to, but that's the way I roll. Now some folks with their shrimp, they're like, oh, you didn't take the vein out. If you want the vein out, you need to go somewhere else because I don't deal with that. It's a lot of work. The only time I take the vein out is if I'm gonna split them suckers, and then obviously the vein's right there, you just wash it off. But if I'm just cooking them whole like this, I'm not taking the vein out. You want the vein out, you gotta do it yourself. This is Gulf Coast, man. I've eaten them raw. It's not a big deal, head and all. Okay, I peeled all the shrimp I'm gonna need for this gumbo. But I wanna show you something. See, on a few of them, I have left the tails. The only reason I left those tails is for visual appeal. Gumbo looks real good if it's got, you know, a tail sticking out, it's bright red, looks all fancy and all that type of thing. Just like I said before, you don't have to pull the heads off, you can put them on there. But I'm really not the fan of having to clean my shrimp when I'm eating my gumbo. So, that's about it. Let's make some gumbo. I got all the ingredients ready. Now we gotta make the roux, dump everything in. Okay, now listen up, this is real important, the roux. I have a gumbo pot, check this out. See that? That is my gumbo pot. And that is my spoon. See, that's flat on one side. I had another one that was super flat. That's for stirring the roux. You're going to put your grease in here, and you're going to add flour to it, and you're going to start to stir. You cannot stop stirring. Just keep stirring, 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 stirring until you get the color you want. If you want caramel color or light color or real dark chocolatey color, you have to keep stirring. Now I'm almost a YouTube master on this thing, so I can do it fairly quickly, but it's still like a 15-minute process. If you get black spots and it starts to burn, throw it all away and start over. Got to make that roux right. Otherwise your gumbo just ain't gonna happen. Just ain't gonna happen. So, heating up my pot. We're gonna start stirring some roux. Once again, I don't measure. Just the way I roll. Everybody should have some bacon grease on their stove top. If you don't, well, you're just missing out. This is Cardio Diet 101 right here. Now I'm gonna add some flour to this. I could have measured, but it's just not how I roll. I just got a knack for this kind of stuff. Kind of can see what I need. Now you can see what I'm doing here. See like that? It looks like oatmeal. That's about where I bring it to. I'm going to add the flour. And then we're just going to sit here and stir it for 20 minutes. Or 15 minutes, however long it's going to take. This is the boring part. I'm going to turn this off. We'll be back in a minute. We'll be back live. Now, we've been rolling right along here. As you can tell, this roux is getting a little thicker. But you see that color? I like to get mine fairly dark. Probably like, I don't know, a dark caramel or something, or milk chocolate color. You don't have to. I could go right here and be good to go, but I like to get it dark. Now I'm on about medium heat also. So I adjust the heat as I go. As I start getting darker, I'll usually back off on the heat a bit so that I don't burn it. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? That is about there. That's where I like it. Sometimes I go darker, sometimes I don't. Now, take care of business. Some people add stuff at different times. I just do this. Just keep stirring it. You gotta keep stirring it till you get the fluid, the stock in there. Ow, that is hot. Don't worry if you get a couple of legs in there, or eyeball, or whatever from the shrimp heads. You want to stir up your shrimp head stock, get all that flavor floating around in there. As you can tell, it's kind of like dirty water. That's going to add a little salt. Go ahead and stir your gumbo. Now it's going to start looking like gumbo. Alright, I got this pretty much to the consistency I want. It'll get a little thicker as it cooks. Turned up my heat. I want it to get to a simmer. Now I like it a little bit more with some more kick, so I'm adding some Rotel Original right here. You don't have to. It's going to give that gumbo a red color to it. A lot of people probably frown on that, but not me. It's gumbo. Whatever you want in there. It's the way to go. Now we're going to simmer this for about 20 minutes. Let that sausage kind of cook and the vegetables break down. Then we'll add the okra, add the shrimp, lay this over a big thing of rice, and I'll be the man. See that bad boy's just sitting in there simmering. Awesome. Wow, it smells good. We're going to throw this okra in. Okra's always slimy, but that's going to make it even thicker, more savory. We're going to let that simmer for about 15 minutes. Let me give that a taste. You always have to do the taste test. Whoa. Whoa. Oh, that's going to put some sweat on your brow right there. All that crab boil, that's got some kick. But that does have a damn good flavor. Woo! Alright. Let's cover it up, let it simmer. And one thing I forgot to tell you is make some rice. Because you're going to take this gumbo, put it over a nice ball of rice. And then that juice is going to suck into that rice. And then, man, it's just going to be a gut coater. This is Cardio Diet 101 right here. This is hardcore gumbo. I've done this 1,000 times. I do it different every time, except for your roux and your Trinity. Everything else, you throw alligator in there, you throw in sausage, chicken, it doesn't matter, oysters, whatever you can find, throw it in there. Squirrels, whatever, duck, everything. It's gumbo. All right, guys, that's been simmering. Give it a quick stir. My house smells awesome. Time to add these shrimp. And dump the shrimp in there. This is the last thing we're doing. Gonna give that about 3 minutes. It's time to eat. Get you some rice in a bowl. Make sure you got some of that shrimp right there. Homie don't play. See what I'm looking at? Awesome. Let's go do a taste test. Alright guys, time for that international taste test right here. Nothing like a YouTube expert, right? Got some rice, got a little piece of sausage, some okra, of course that shrimp, plenty of that juice. Try not to burn your face off. I just pulled this out of the pot. I always make that mistake because I can't wait. Straight out of the bayou, y'all. Whoa, that's awesome. It's got a nice kick. The rice tones down that pepper kick from that crab boil. You can do this with crawfish too, same thing. Oh, that's awesome. That's right out the bayou. You can make a pot of this. You can feed 5-6 dudes easy. I mean, this stuff is so filling, especially if you use shortening or bacon grease like I just did. I mean, that's Granny's recipe right there. Not my granny, but Granny. Granny would know how that rolls right there. Oh, that's awesome. Y'all give that a shot. I'm gonna go finish my dinner. Or lunch, or whatever you want to call it. Just call it awesome. Now one thing y'all, hit like, hit subscribe. Check out my other channel, The Hog Zone. Got a lot of fishing on there, hunting. Got to go back through a lot of the hunting stuff because I'm just not hunting very much anymore. And check out thehogzone.com.